Well, it's been a pretty successful year with the Crown Vic. Done quite a bit of driving with this thing, did some towing, did some racing, did a little bit of everything with it. And wintertime, you know, things kind of change sometimes with project cars over the winter. And really the only complaint I had, and it wasn't even a real complaint, but the only thing I wish this had was overdrive. So that's what we're going to be doing to this thing. And today we're pulling the Turbo 400 out and getting ready to put a 4L80 in this thing. So my friend Andrew from Skids for Kids, you might recognize him if you watch any of the big burnout contests. He always puts on a good show. He had a 4L80 in his truck and he wanted to go Turbo 400. And coincidentally, I have a Turbo 400 and I want to go 4L80. So it just worked out. So today I'm going to be pulling the Crown Vic into the building and yanking this Turbo 400 out and preparing to put that 80 in this thing. I don't have it yet. Going to be meeting up with him in a couple days to do the exchange, and then we'll be able to slap that thing in. So we are going to have to make a couple other changes to the car overall to accommodate the 4L80. Off the top of my head, I know we're going to need to have the drive shaft shortened because it's a couple inches longer than the Turbo 400. If you recall, this is running on Holley Terminator X, so this has the Terminator X ECU in it, which is not capable of controlling an electronically controlled transmission like the 4L80E. So we do have another vehicle, though, behind us, the Cadillac, that has a Terminator X Max in it, which has the capability of controlling an electronic transmission like the 4L80. So we're going to be swapping those two ECUs and putting the Max in the Crown Vic, putting the Crown Vic Terminator X in the Cadillac because that's got a Turbo 400 in it. We don't need that, the max capability for that car, so that's going to work out pretty good. I'm going to need to get with Holley and get the transmission harnessed from the ECU to the transmission, and probably going to need to get a different torque converter that's set up for what the Crown Vic is compared to Andrew's burnout truck. But I'm really excited for this project. Like I said, I mean, did a ton of stuff with the Crown Vic this year. Turbo 400 worked great. The manual valve body is pretty fun, but I really want the overdrive and honestly want to be able to just put this thing in gear and have it go. So I don't know, it's just kind of the point I'm at right now. 31, I don't know. Fun is probably disappearing. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just getting older and I don't know. Anyways, going to get the car pulled inside and start pulling the transmission out. This year's been really good for the Crown Vic. A lot of improvements, put nitrous on it. Hasn't really skipped a beat. So see if we can get this thing fired up. She's a little cold-blooded. I think it's high 30s a day on the 85. There we go. I do wish this thing had heat in it. Unfortunately, last year when it was lifting ahead, the heater core took a pretty big L. And I just don't know if I want to take the dash out of this thing. I don't think I do. It's not a fun job, but maybe I'll do that. I don't know. It would be nice for you know, fall cruises and stuff. I mean, I don't know. It was okay this year, I guess. I tried driving it a couple days ago. It was a little chilly a couple days ago, to be honest, but maybe I just get an electric heater for it. I don't know. All right, Crown Vic's pulled in. Made a quick modification. So ever since I got this thing on this fuse box cover, it said 7 quarts. We're referring to the engine oil capacity, which I think that must be for the 4.6. So I just had to make a quick modification. Then I also seem to always forget what oil pan this has on it. It's got an F-body oil pan. So Camaro, Firebird, Trans Am, whatever. Sometimes they change the oil filter, the thread. I don't know. So I just wrote which oil filter this takes on it as well. So hopefully I won't forget anymore. But we gotta get the post set and then lift this thing up and start taking that transmission out. Well, we got the Crown Vic lifted up. I was just doing some preliminary checks under here. This shouldn't be too big of a deal to get this transmission removed. So we got to take this crossover pipe off. The starter's got to come down. I don't know if I have to loosen this or not. I can't remember if there's enough room without sliding that over. If so, it's just a V-band here, not a huge deal. Back here, drive shaft, 4 bolts there. Shifter's got to come off. I got to disconnect this transmission fluid temp sensor. Disconnect this trans brake deal right here. Boom, that's done. 4 cross member bolts. Get the tranny jack. Undo the mount. She'll be coming out. So I'm probably going to try and save the fluid that's in it, or most of it. It's not a cheap fluid that I used, so only had 1,000-ish miles on it. So I'm going to get that draining, and then we'll do a little time lapse and hopefully have this thing out in, well, just about no time. Got pretty much all the accessory BS disconnected. So the torque converter's undone, the transmission cooler lines are undone, shifter's undone, drive shaft's out, a couple wires are disconnected. So I got to undo the bell housing bolts and cross member bolts, trans mount bolts. The worst part about this job is the dipstick tube. So that's got this bracket that bolts to the back of the cylinder head. Super tough to get to. You got to get the right ratchet and socket combo, or extension and socket combo to fit up there. But yeah, we're not too far away from taking this sucker out. So I'm gonna get those couple things disconnected, and then we'll lower this thing down and take a peek at her. All right, guys, transmission cross member about to come out. Forgot exactly how I gotta finagle this out of here. There's some special password to getting it to go. Do I remember? Not really. How's that look to you guys? Is it like right in the way of the video? I might just leave it there for the time being. Get this transmission out. See about getting this thing come out. Next day, Crown Vic trans is out. Take a look at this thing. Got the trans there, converters down there. This thing served the Crown Vic well. I'm, happy with how we got it performing. The first time this went in, which would be last year, 2022, had some issues up front with this thing, which took the car down for most of the year. But this year, that transmission has worked excellent in this thing. Super happy with how it performed when we took it to the track down in Bradenton at Bradenton Motorsports Park when we were down there for Cletus and Cars. Like I said, had this opportunity not come up to swap for that 4L80 with overdrive, this thing would just be staying in here. I mean, it's a fun vehicle to drive with a manual valve body. For me, though, I just like putting it in gear and going. I don't know. Like I said, I've had my share of manual transmission cars. This was the first reverse pattern manual valve body car that I've had. And, I mean, it is fun. It is fun. But 4L80 life, we're going for that overdrive. And I figured I'd just show you guys the underneath of this thing while I have it up in the air. And I I forgot exactly how many miles this car had on it when I got it. I think around 200,000. It's not a clean unit, guys, but some people have asked me to see what the motor looks like, and the clearance around the back of the engine and stuff like that. The 400 fit in there with no problems. Didn't have to do any cutting or banging or anything like that. Just had to modify the transmission cross member a little bit. Also, that's my work light. I've got a corded unit there. I really want to get a couple of the Milwaukee battery-operated ones. Those are super nice. I've got one at the other shop, but don't have any out here. This works decently, but maneuverability would be nice. So here's the underneath of the car, back of the engine. Tons of room. Everything in here, honestly, fits like factory for the most part. So it's got a good amount of room. I probably should tie these dock sensor wires up. I'm not using those, but yeah, you can see though, rocker panels on this thing, pretty much non-existent, rusted away. I'm planning on doing a little bit of body work, or having some body work done. I'm not really a body work guy. I'd like to get these plastic rock covers painted to match the car. And then over here, I don't really care much about the rust, guys, but there's a rust hole here. That's just like touched too much. I'd like to get that fixed up and looking a little bit nicer. But I mean, I'm good with the look that this thing has. You know, not too clean, not clean at all. Just don't like the rust holes. If, well, a few things permit, I'd like to go through the differential this year. This is an 8.8, so relatively strong diff. I would like to put either a True Track or Detroit Locker in this thing. When we were down at the Freedom Factory doing a burnout in the burnout box, one of the tires was not really spinning the way I'd like it to. So old posi unit, can't be too surprised that it's not functioning how it should be. And then also have some suspension components I'm going to be replacing here pretty soon. Will be a video on that. Stick around and you'll see that. Pretty cool pieces. But that's going to do it for this video. Crown Vic going to be even more of a street car next year. I've got a 5-bar map sensor also sitting on my desk that I need to install in this thing. So maybe we'll turn the boost up a little bit more, see what this 4.8 can handle. If not, we're right on like the threshold of the 2.5-bar map sensor that's in there. So the way that that's working is not the best when you're, running close to the edge of your map sensor. So just figured I'd put a 5-bar in there, be done, and not have to worry about it anymore. So if you guys have any suggestions, though, on some stuff that the Crown Vic needs over the winter, or any of the other projects that are in the fleet, the Badillac, the Rex 3, going to be doing a lot on the Rex 3 here pretty soon, talking with the Whelen Speed guys, and also my desire to not have it be an outdoor unit anymore. That's kind of useless and broke. We're going to be getting that fixed up. But yeah, throw me some ideas on some stuff that you guys would like to see. Winter here is, I don't know, kind of slow, and always interested to hear what you guys think and what I should do to this stuff. So appreciate your guys' support in this matter. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you in a couple days.